Underneath all of that is the Bible. I am unapologetically 100% in favor of it is the Bible. Jesus is the Word. There is no delineation. If the Bible says it, that's what Jesus is, and that's what Jesus believes. That's what this podcast is actually about, is to actually alert people to what is coming and what is our responsibility in the midst of it.
They're going to try to change the law to end birthright citizenship. I hate to call it birthright citizenship. It's fundamentally a loophole that now exists in our immigration system that rewards illegal aliens just because they have a baby in the United States. There are a number of things that we're already looking at in the administration, Laura, to try to close down that loophole.
So he's calling it a loophole, and this is how many people, we've got a graphic to show how many people benefit from it every year. 260,000 babies every year are given automatic U.S. citizenship who have parents that are not citizens or lawful permanent residents. When it goes to the birth tourism citizens, that is 20 to 26,000 per year. Justice Samuel Alito, who is not retiring despite an erroneous NPR report yesterday that he was, says this is one of the most important decisions in the history of the court, and in my judgment, the court has made a serious mistake. It was a much better day for the Trump platform regarding trans athletes. The president
its name on the ballot because he didn't even know I wasn't his congressman. That's how much they've bamboozled the people here in Kentucky. They used artificial intelligence to create a video, lifelike video, that showed me checking into a hotel room with AOC and Ilhan Omar and holding hands with them. It was actually very effective on the boomers. But here's the thing, Kristen, that's only going to work for a little bit longer. The boomers are going to, leave this country to the Gen X and the Gen Z and the Gen Y and the millennials, and those folks are the ones that I won overwhelmingly. That makes me really hopeful for this country. They don't get fooled by artificial intelligence, and they check the news. They get news sources like from podcasts and other sources. So they won this race by fooling my voters and expanding the base of people who vote to the uninformed voters. But look, I got 45% of the vote.
Play a game. Who did real journalism when it mattered? Let's start with her, the now editor-in-chief at The Federalist. She said on September 23rd, 2020, there's no downside to Trump nominating Amy Coney Barrett. Thrilling journalism. No downside? None? Really? My journalism 2 days before, finding an article showing that Amy Coney Barrett was actually pro-lockdown. So there is one downside, that Trump during lockdowns is nominating a pro-lockdown judge. Not just a downside, potentially one of the worst downsides in modern history. So I wrote, Amy Coney Barrett supported the Orwellian lockdowns. Is President Trump about to set America up for failure? So you're telling me I could find that independently? I'm the CEO of my own company. I don't have some sort of massive team, and I figured that out by myself, but Molly couldn't figure that out, and she said that there's no downside. Predictably, like most dunces on the right, now Molly's panicking because Amy Coney Barrett today again sided with liberal judges, this time on birthright citizenship, and she's really like, wow, this is really bad. Yeah, if only our side could actually do their job when it actually mattered and tell people the truth instead of pushing mouth-drooling propaganda slop that has brainwashed an entire generation so badly that literally their brains are currently broken, and old school media has pushed these people past the point of no return. So if you wonder why I talk about the right more than the left, this is why. Here's somebody that's like, the left, the left, the left, who pushes like sub 50 IQ brain rot slop, admitting that he worked for the Pentagon.
Yes, my official title was actually senior strategic consultant to the Department of War, but whatever. Who cares? Whatever. But before that, everybody knows this. I left the show for 6-7 months to go into the administration.
Completely abandoned me.
The Pentagon. All right?
And here I was just thinking these people were just super, super stupid. Silly me. Let me know if you like this game.
We're seeing our arrest numbers come up. We're seeing our deportation numbers continue to increase. Right now, we're deporting on average over 3,000 individuals. Actually, the average has been for several weeks now, over 3,200 individuals a day. 70% of those individuals we're deporting have outstanding criminal charges on them, or they've already been charged with a felony. 70% of those individuals, 70% of the individuals that are men and women throughout DHS arrests, be it ICE, CBP, or one of our other components, 70% of those individuals have pending felony charges or are current felons that shouldn't be on our streets. So when we go after the worst of the worst, which is exactly what we're doing, we're saving lives. This is a statistic I like to put out, but 50% of the individuals killed in Fairfax County, Virginia, are killed at the hand of an illegal.
Hey, how's them peace deal talks going? Well, they're looking mighty peaceful, thanks to Trump's deal making. And for that matter, what's the newest term of the peace deal? Well, U.S.-Iran talks scheduled for this week in Switzerland have been canceled due to renewed fighting. And we're all grateful this war is over, as we're told. Coming up tonight, you'll hear about all the latest surprises and how the U.S. and Iran are celebrating the peace deal by bombing each other, including very peaceful nuclear threats and how North Korea has entered the chat on that with nuclear threats to get in on all the peace.
Why was he killed?
He was killed because his words made a difference. Because he was showing people the light. And he was killed by the dark.
Thank you, sir.
Wednesday night, and we are live. Hope everybody's doing good. As always, be blessed in the mighty name of Jesus. Let me say to everybody in the chat, Jules 21 Hours is on. Skunk 71 is on. General Plowman is on. Big Scott 1 is on. Robin Aroni is on. Agravane is on. JD Joy is on. Bagel Boy is on. Sean Czar is on. Big Scott 1 is on. Conservative Warrior is on. Dana 59 is on. Let me see. Deb Pal 50 is on. Arcadia Angel is on. Granite 24. 68 is on. Mike Griffith is on. Skunk 71 is on. Captain Cliff is on. Jules 21 Hours is on. Sunwoo 45 is on. Linesmanson is on. California 1960 is on. USA Abby Girl is on. Jim Brody is on. Big Scott 1 is on. Scrolling down. Keeper 1376 is on. Graffiti Bug is on. Andre K 24 is on. Scrolling down. If I say your guy's name twice, it's because I can't remember whether I did or not. So just enjoy it. It's on twice. All right, let me go. Mark 1069 is on. Uncle Wally is on. The great T1AU is on. Let me see here. Scrolling down. K4 VMS is on. Let me see here. Conservative Waffle is on. Scrolling down. Let me grab a couple more here that I haven't seen yet. Lisa Kinzer's on. Patrina C is on. Let me scroll all the way to the bottom. Let me see. Oh, wow. Okay, here we go. Let me see who I haven't got yet. Lou Ann 5 is on. Scott-a-lot is on. Let me grab one more if I can find one more. Let me see here that I haven't seen yet. Scrolling down. Actually, scrolling up right now. Let me see here. Anybody scrolling all the way to the bottom? Oh, there we go. Jeannie Malfeasy is on. All right, love you guys. Appreciate each and every one of you. Now, just real quick, from the pregame, when you had DH Secretary Mark Wayne Mullen says that daily illegal deportation numbers have increased over 3,200 per day. That sounds great, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Sounds great. I mean, remember now, what we were promised was that we were going to eradicate basically all that Joe Biden did, right, as far as illegal immigrants, which nobody knows the true numbers. It all depends on who you're reading, but it's 15 to 30 million that he allowed in only 4 years. 15,000 a day at the height. So think about that. At the height for years is 15,000 a day, and we are deporting 3,000 a day. So just think about that. And it just got to that level. So what's been going on? Let me try to figure it out. So what's been going on since Charlie Kirk was executed? What's been going on? Nothing. Then of course we have the Iran war, which now is basically back in full swing. Not a whole lot of news on it. Not a whole lot of reporting on it. Nobody's really talking about it. I'm wondering where all the sycophants are now. Nobody's talking about the greatness, the peacemaker, the peace deal guy, the deal maker, all that stuff. Nobody's talking about that anymore. It's kind of weird, isn't it? Because the peace talks have been canceled as of yesterday, the day before, for the week. And that allegedly, remember, this was a peace deal. That's basically gone. So the reason why we've had no deportations, can't exactly say why. It doesn't help that we're now in a new war that we were promised would never happen. But anyway, so 3,200 per day sounds great. But basically that's 1.1 million per year. Now that just started, as Mark Wayne Mullen said a few weeks ago. So basically that's half a year worth of basically doing nothing. So at most what we'll get for the year is around 500,000. That's at the most for the year. So all the expectations, no wall, border is ostensibly closed though. Great job on that with Trump. Great job with even limiting legal immigration. Great job on closing the border. Horrible job on deportations. Horrible job on the economy. Horrible job with no new wars. Horrible job with inflation. Horrible job with the debt. That's just the facts. Horrible job with the big, beautiful bill. $3 trillion added in debt. When he took over, it was $36 trillion. We're now at $39 trillion. Those are just facts. I don't like that, Tom, because you're speaking against my candidate. If the facts speak against your candidate, then your candidate is wrong. How hard is that? It's just like if the Bible speaks against your Christianity is wrong. It's not hard. None of this is hard. If the truth speaks against your candidate or against your politics, then your politics are a lie and your politician is a lie. And it's now starting to percolate. I actually did a little bit, tried to look forward a little bit today. I really don't want to do it. To be honest with you, I will do it, but I really don't want to do it. Starting to percolate, starting to come out on Alex Jones now, how much Don Jr. and Eric Trump are making off of this administration. It is not good, folks. It's bad. Everybody's very upset about Hunter Biden, and rightfully so, being on the board of Burisma, selling his art for $500,000 a pop, and rightfully so. But what if your politician and my politician, I voted for Trump 3 times, if our politician is doing the same things, is it now right that he's doing wrong things? Called it wrong when Biden did it. Is it right now when Trump is doing it? Same thing with the war, and this war is an abomination. I mean, look at how horrible it's going. Really, really bad. Go to the first reform. This is all because of the war. Why does the president have to come out and do an emergency declaration? So declaration of emergency and authorization for temporary duty-free importation of phosphate fertilizer from Morocco. Why is that happening? Because the fertilizer's been stopped up in the strait. There's nothing going through the strait. Oh, yes, there is. People say, go actually look at the charts. I mean, look at the graphs. There's over 100, between 100 and 150 ships per day. Last I looked, it was 30. So you don't have fertilizer going through the strait. Not much of our fuel goes through the strait, but a lot of our fertilizer does. And now Trump is having to remove the duties off of it so we can directly import it. The war is not going well. Send this to all the people like Sean Farish, Gunther Eagleman, Eric Doherty, Kat Turd, the Trumps, and everybody else who says this war is going swimmingly well on day 125 of the 4-day war. And we're bombing each other again, but don't worry, they've been classified as defensive bombings. And Israel has refused to remove themselves from Lebanon. So, I mean, it's not going well, and now we're having to actually protect our food source because of a war 7,000 miles away against an opponent, an enemy that nobody gives a crap about. Bannon read over the survey. He read over the poll. Concerns for Iran didn't even reach the top 100 for most Americans, basically for no Americans. And just admit it, if you love this war, and please forward this to people who do, just admit it that, you know what, the war is not going well. How's the capture of the enriched uranium going? How's that going? I'm just curious. Let me see. How is the regime change going? How's that going? How is Israel no longer bombing Lebanon going? How's that going? Not well. They just unleashed a bomb that people thought was nuclear in southern Lebanon. People, they were doing it. I think it was Victor Boot on Alex Jones was doing, or no, it was Douglas McGregor on the Redacted podcast. And they were trying to disseminate what exactly this bomb was that went off because people thought it was nuclear. And McGregor said, basically, it looks like the equivalent to our Bunker Buster mega bomb. And now they're dropping that on Lebanon. It's not going well. I mean, again, we did the court rulings yesterday. Some went well, some didn't. But overall, things are not going great, folks. So let's go worldly cabal. I've got to rush through some stuff because I've got to get to my Democrat portion of the show tonight because it's absolutely hysterical. The Democrats are now electing communists all around America, everywhere. And again, so just because I'm against certain things that Trump does certainly doesn't make me a Democrat. Just like I'm against things that Israel does certainly doesn't make me in favor of the mullahs of Iran. There you go. I mean, it doesn't make me in favor of Hamas, although Israel created Hamas. But again, not the deep dive right now. But anyway, all right. So let's go here. Publius tweet. Just going global cabal here, proving that everything's a lie. Everything's a lie. There's no white hats. There's no black hats. There's spirit of God and spirit of the devil. That's it. And everybody's on one side or the other. And there's no neutrality. You think that there is because you think that conservatives would be on the side of the spirit of God. They're not. Just because you're a conservative doesn't make you on the side of God. Because as we've seen, conservatives lie to bolster right-wing politicians. They will lie. They'll lie in debates to prove a point that doesn't exist. That's how it is. I mean, they will lie to support an agenda. I mean, how are you conservative when you pass an omnibus spending package like the big, beautiful bill that adds $1.7 trillion to our debt? How exactly are you conservative? But then they'll lie and say that they are. And this is an example of that. John Roberts right here. Roberts corruption exposed, Justice John Roberts. So we're wondering how it is that we lost the birthright citizenship vote yesterday. 6-3. Kavanaugh, Roberts, and Amy Coney Barrett voted to keep birthright citizenship. And that's a total misnomer anyway. What was birthright citizenship, 14th Amendment? What was it all about? Giving rights to babies of slaves. That's it. Born in America, subject to the jurisdiction therein. That was all that it was. Not people illegally entering the country who are not subject to the jurisdiction therein, plopping out a kid and then claiming citizenship for the kid. Not to mention, birth tourism out of China, 1.5 million Chinese that have come here, had babies, and brought them back to China and are voting in our elections. And an idiot like John Roberts, why would he vote for this? Why would he vote for it? Because he's not an American. He's not a conservative. I meant it. He's not an American. He does not look at America as a sovereign nation. He looks at it as a globalist state that he wants governed out of Davos under Larry Fink. All right, Roberts corruption exposed. Justice John Roberts spent a week at left-wing activist Norm Eisen's 150-room Prague Palace, where they worked on American and European rule of law issues while Roberts was Chief Justice and while Eisen was Obama's ambassador. How's he conservative? How's he conservative? And he was Chief Justice meeting with a private attorney, Norm Eisen, who basically files every lawsuit that's ever been filed against the Trump administration. Like, Tom, you seem like you're anti-Trump. I'm not anti-Trump. I'm anti people who are doing things that are not conservative. I am anti-leftism. I am anti-non-conservatism. When Trump does stupid, leftist, anti-conservative things, I say it. Just like I did when Trump imposed masks, when Trump imposed 60 days to flatten the curve, which was off of his original 15 days to flatten the curve, when Trump pushed Operation Warp Speed, when Trump adds $3 trillion worth of debt to our national debt. That's not conservatism. That's not Christianity. So I will speak out against it. It doesn't make it Christ-like when Trump does things antithetical to Christ, just because Trump does it. And here you have a quintessential fake conservative plant. You cannot be conservative and be meeting with Norm Eisen to discuss American and European rule of law issues with a devout communist, leftist, baby butchering moron. That's who John Roberts is. You're wondering why it is that we lose votes in the Supreme Court that we allegedly own 6-3. It's because Coney is a fraud. Justice Roberts is a fraud. Brett Kavanaugh, most of the time, is a fraud. Go to the next one for me. Another Publius tweet. Corrupt Chief Justice exposed John Roberts' wife, Jane. Oh, Aaron, just $10 million.
Oh.
Made $10 million in commissions from big law firms arguing before John Roberts.
Oh my gosh.
And Roberts listed it as a salary to hide it. He put it down as a salary. It's not a salary. It's a per diem. It's her being paid. It's not a salary. She's a private contractor. He never recused from 500 plus cases when he had a huge financial and family conflict. 500 cases, folks. That's how corrupt it is. That's Elena Kagan laughing underneath him. Because he's just as leftist as she is. Tom, make that make sense. If you watch this podcast, you already know what I'm about to say. He just puts on the veneer of conservatism to get on the court. And eventually, yes, he'll have to vote for some conservative things to maintain that veneer. But overall, leftist. Kavanaugh, leftist. Amy Coney Barrett, leftist. All right, here's this from MJ Truth Ultra. I'm just reading this one, guys. Nothing's up next. Yeah, there you go. Just leave that on the bullpen. More details are emerging about Justice Amy Coney Barrett's book deal. Why does she have a book deal? How in the world can you operate as a Chief Justice with a book deal? All right, and what I mean by that is, listen, there comes a time, I'm all for private enterprise and doing all those things. Okay, but when you're going to have to literally be impartial, you can't be donating to political parties and getting multi-million-dollar book deals. Here's why. On May 4th, 2026, I mean, again, a month and a half ago, Barrett spoke at the George W. Bush, of course, Presidential Center in Dallas, about her book, Listening to the Law. That's the name of it. Reflections on the Court and Constitution. The event was moderated by Bush Center President and CEO Shiloh Brooks. Her 2021 book deal, reported as a $2 million advance, was there can't be any corruption. We deal with millions. I mean, come on. Was handled by the literary agency Javelin. The same agency also represented James Comey for his book, A High Loyalty. It is all a giant symbiote. It is all a giant circle bleep symbiote of a bunch of people. And they will all say, there's no conflicts of interest. You know, we're just all in the law community with one another. I don't affect their opinions. They don't affect my opinion. Oh, $2 million doesn't affect your opinion? Yeah, right. Javelin was co-founded by Matt. That's the publisher for Amy Coney Barrett's book. Javelin was co-founded by Matt Latimer, former Bush speechwriter, and Keith Urban, who served as Donald Rumsfeld's chief of staff for several years after Rumsfeld left office. Matt Latimer and Keith Urban are not Trump allies. They come from pre-Trump neocon Republican circles, both openly critical of Trump. Not to mention Amy Coney Barrett's father. And you're like, Tom, you should like that because they're anti-Trump. No, I'm not anti-Trump. I'm anti-conservative. If you are Donald Rumsfeld, you're not conservative, so I'm anti-Rumsfeld. I'm anti-George W. Bush, all these people. Just because people call themselves conservatives, they're not conservative. Hardly anybody is genuinely conservative. 296 people that are watching this show right now, me, you, Aaron, and Joe, we're conservative. Yep. We know that. Our wives and Joe's girlfriend, they're conservative. But all these people from D.C., not so. Not to mention Amy Coney Barrett's father, Michael Coney, worked for 29 years as an attorney for Shell Oil, focusing on legal matters involving Gulf of Mexico offshore drilling. He was also active for over 2 decades in the American Petroleum Institute's Exploration and Production Law Subcommittee. Given these documented connections, a multi-million-dollar book deal brokered by agents who have been openly critical of President Trump. She hates Donald Trump, even though he got her in there. Again, I said I got the years all screwed up last night, but it was 2020 when she came in. He was the last one that McConnell squeezed in. Right before. But the only reason why McConnell cooperated to get her through the Senate was because he was her selection. Why? So she can be a part of running the Supreme Court of the United States, and i.e. the rest of the world, because really right now in America is Rome right now, is running the world for all intents and purposes. But you can denigrate the United States of America. You can downgrade the United States of America via the Supreme Court. That's what they want. So that we come into line as a globalist state and are ruled out of Davos, ruled out of London, whatever place you want to choose. That's who these people genuinely are. They're not conservatives. They're not Christian. They're not Bible believers. They're just not. It is a giant consortium of people, left and right. And the people who are on the right are not right-wingers. They put on a facade as right-wingers, so they get elected and appointed as right-wingers, then rule as left-wingers. That's what they do. You're like, but occasionally, Amy Coney Barrett votes correctly. Again, only to maintenance the veneer. And here's the thing. All these people, this is what's so sad about Trump. She comes from the anti-Trump McConnell orbit. None of them are conservative. So you're like, well, then Trump would have to be conservative. He was. And then he decided to be like them. Why? I don't know. Aaron, tell me. I don't know. You can't tell. I don't know why. Why would you go with? Because part of the reason why is his sons, Eric and Don Jr., are making billions. That's just the way that it is. People don't like to hear it. They don't like anybody jumping off the Trump train or whatever it is. I've been off the Trump train. I was kicked off the Trump train in July of 2025. I was told, in July of whatever it was, 2025, around the first Iranian attack, the Epstein files, that my support was no longer welcome. No problem at all. I'm not a political stalker. People don't want me around. I don't go around. I can sense when I'm not welcome. And you know what? I can sense it. You know what I do? I don't go in. I'm not welcome. I don't go in. That's just the way that is. All right, here we go. So let's go to the next thing. It's a worldwide cabal here. Back to flock cameras. Matt Van Swal video. What on earth? Over 100 flock cameras. See, would you like Amy Coney Barrett to be ruling on things like, flock cameras, on ruling on evidence from flock cameras? I wouldn't. She's a globalist, leftist, bourgeois elitist. What on earth? Over 100 flock cameras that were set to go dark at the end of June after city council voted to shut them down have bizarrely just remained on, and the police are still using them. Play for me.
Flock contract ended, but if you thought the cameras went dark, they didn't. They're not off.
Correct. They're still operational, at minimum until July 15th, when City Council is set to meet again to discuss how they want to proceed.
So what does that mean?
Essentially, they're operable. We're still able to use them should we need them to keep the public safe.
Last Friday, Cleveland City Council President Blaine Griffin sent this memo to Safety Committee Chair Mike Polensek to schedule a second hearing for a, quote, more thorough review and discussion.
It's ridiculous and it's incredibly disappointing.
Community activist Bryn Adams with Flock Knows says the city should instead invest in root causes of crime.
I think if the police department comes back with some cherry-picked anecdotal evidence about specific cases they've closed, that will still not be compelling to me because it's still not making the city safer.
I think it's always a challenge because if law enforcement is telling you that this is a valuable tool and it's providing value to us, then you're reluctant to let it go away.
CSU law professor Jonathan Whitmer-Rich says figuring out what reduces crime is very complicated.
To say that this technology, hasn't been proven to do that yet, well, it's hard to prove exactly what is, reducing crime. And I think council needs to look seriously at what the data shows, how this is being used, but I wouldn't rule it out of hand as having, no benefit.
Police pointed to its technology, including the license plate readers, for an arrest here on Clark Avenue of the guy accused of shooting two people with a blow dart.
I think it's PR spin. I think, we know that in other places in the country, Flock has invested heavily in crisis management.
In their own news release, police said one of the victims knew the suspect. So did the cameras really make a difference in catching the guy a day later? Police say yes, as one of several tech tools.
Yeah, we could have definitely gone old school. And old school means it could have taken us weeks. So we could have had a suspect out there for weeks.
For when they shall say peace and safety. And there you are. Here it is again. So here's the thing. You have the officials saying, well, nobody can really determine their benefit. Well, here it is. On June 17th, the City Council Safety Committee voted to end the contract because when they asked police to prove these cameras actually reduce crime, the police could only point to 3 cases that led to convictions in Cleveland. In Cleveland, Ohio. Folks, it's just, it is again, just a way to turn us in. If you need an example, if you need to actually look at where this is going, go to an account on Twitter called Song Ping Guang, something along those. You put Song Ping in there, it'll come up. And they basically, all they do is illustrate what's going on in China, where there is flock cameras or flock-esque cameras everywhere. And they don't solve crime. They don't do anything. They basically, again, what this is all about is leveraging you into a one world commerce system with a singular access point to all commerce, right out of the book of Revelation, chapter 13, 16, 17, and 18. That's all that it is. Leverage you into that one world commerce system with a singular access point controlled by them. Everything becoming the internet, everything being filmed. The only way for you to pay for anything is via a digital ID. That's all this is all about, and building massive data centers so that those who are already multi-billionaires, who are only multi-billionaires because they were given government stipends. And that's all that this is about. It's not got anything to do with solving crime. How many of us are, I'd be willing, again, this is the example, this is what I said last night. You can, we're going to increase parking citations and speeding tickets. No, thank you anyway. That doesn't solve any crime. But here's the thing. You may have some sort of pseudo reduction in street crime, which, by the way, is not the case. I'm just trying to make a cogent argument here. You may have some sort of pseudo reduction in street crime as you usher in totalitarianism, which is a giant crime, which ends up executing hundreds and hundreds of thousands of people, millions of people, as we've seen throughout the years. Peace and safety, yeah, there's no robberies going on, but they're executing their political opponents. That's what happens every single time. All right, go to the next one. Donald Trump. Speaking of that, Donald J. Trump, True Social Post. And this is the greatness of Trump. And a lot of it's the good birthright, challenging birthright, greatness of Trump. Him and J.D. Vance coming up with a plan to actually overrule the Supreme Court when it comes to birthright and what they're doing, and amping up deportations of pregnant women and women that are in the birthing age, getting them the heck out of this country. That's the greatness of Trump. I'm not going to short sell the greatness of Trump either. Numerous European countries have been discussing the imminent implementation of a digital services tax on American companies. Some of these countries are close to actually doing this. Please let this statement serve to represent that any country that imposes a tax will immediately be met with a 100% tariff on any and all goods sent to the United States of America. This tariff will supersede trade deals made with the country, whether implemented, signed, or not. Additionally, the 100% tariff will be immediately imposed if they proceed. Thank you for your attention to this matter, President Donald J. Trump. So that, again, they're trying to put a tax on digital services. They're trying to censor speech coming out of the European Union, trying to go after Elon Musk and fine him for what's going on Twitter, all those different things. Again, that's just leveraging people into one world commerce system. You can only say, imagine if your only way to communicate was online, but you're only allowed online by your rulers. So your only way to communicate, your only way to order anything, your only way to buy, sell, trade, or travel is to go online, and you are kept offline. That's what they're trying to do. Then they can leverage your behavior. You will move into a 15-minute city. Right down the road here from where I'm sitting right now, 13,000 South Tamiami Trail, Foundation Church. You go down here, you take a left. And there's like this little community back there. And the houses are about double wide of this desk. That's about how big they are. I'm barely exaggerating. And they jam I'm telling you, they're the size really of your kitchen, the width of your kitchen. And then it runs, the length of the house. And it's all just one. It literally is a triangle. It literally is a rectangle. That's all it is. There is no it's literally basically an RV that's not an RV. And they built all these houses, and literally I can't show you on screen, but they're arm's length apart. And they jam them all into this, and they put a pool in the middle, and it's basically the only affordable housing that there is. And they will be controlled on smart thermostats. You saw Mamdani today, in case I don't get to it, Mamdani today telling every business to raise their air conditioning to 78 degrees. This is the point of everything that you see. It's the Bible, folks. What is it? It's the Bible. It's Republican. No, it's not Republican, Democrat. It's not left versus right. The right, true conservatism is politically correct. That is the right thing to do. All right. But what is called the right versus left is not what it's about, because the right is fake. Just like our capitalistic system is fake. We're not capitalistic. We're crony capitalistic. We're actually socialized. All right, go to the next one for me. I don't even know where I am. Thomas Massey tweet. We just needed 12 more to vote no to stop this Trojan horse bill, because it takes two-thirds to pass under a suspension of the rules. Too many were afraid to vote against the Kids Act. See, that's what they do. They call it the Puppies Act. The Kids Act. It's the Kids Act title. Or didn't know what the bill will really do, or just want government to have total control. It's just like the anomaly video that I showed in the pregame, and he's sick of it the same way that I am. You know what? I understand when Mom Donnie is implementing his communism. I can't stand that, but that's what they all voted for up there. Enjoy, you bunch of idiots. What really bothers me is moronic right-wingers. That's really what, Israel, good. You're just, and what are you talking? I mean, you're just a moron. What basis do you have that says that Israel good? Or even, everything American does is good, and you say that it's not. You're anti-America, MAGA. No, you're low IQ. Somebody purposely choosing to be low IQ. It's the same thing here. All the Republicans voted for the Kids Act. Why? Because it has kids in front of it. Because allegedly it'll keep kids off of porn on the internet. Only problem is now everybody has to verify they're not a kid. So is it a Kids Act or is it an Everybody Act? And would everybody vote for it if it was an Everybody Act? So now you're like, well, what's wrong with identifying yourself? Do you want to be identified everywhere you go? Do you? Do you want to be identified every second of every day, everywhere you go, via flock cameras, via digital IDs? Do you want to be? I mean, you know what? I don't want everybody to know all of my information, because what happens here is what happens to all this information. You now have to prove who you are to go onto the internet. All right. Or to prove who you are to go onto various sites that could. There's all kinds of language here about what this is, but it's all written very vague. Like, it's basically to keep kids from indecent content. Well, what the heck is indecent content? Mm-hmm. If you were to say, okay, we are going to attach some sort of ID requirement to Israel's Pornhub and Israel's OnlyFans, facts, by the way, and that people can't get on there without an ID. Well, you can't get into a strip club with an ID either. So without an ID. So I would agree with that. Go ahead. If you can strictly keep it to porn, actual porn sites. But what is indecent? Well, indecent to a Democrat is a Republican. And that's what happens. It's all written very vague, and all the Republicans vote for it because the word kids is in it. And I'm like, sometimes I listen to what Christians believe. I'm like, do you ever read the Bible? Do you ever read the Jesus, the Word of God? Do you actually ever read it? You have no idea what you're talking about. You sound ridiculous. And same thing with all those Republicans. What are you talking about? So now it's not the Kids Act. The kid's not going to be able to go on there. It's going to be everybody having to prove who they are everywhere they go. And again, once you have to prove to get on, then they can control who gets on. And eventually, when the system is everything's online, and everything is controlled by a data center, even that isn't online, but it's controlled by a data center. And the same ID that gets you on the internet is the same one that fuels up your car while there's still gas available. And while in your ATM card, while cash is still available, with those same cards, those same IDs will keep you out of everything or keep you in everything. And if there's a card and it's all technology, it's all basically quantum dot tattoo sort of technology. And if that gets you in, then somebody can turn it off and keep you out. But because they name it the Kids Act, everybody votes for it. That's how stupid these people are. Tom, you're a pastor. You shouldn't be calling people stupid. You know what stupid people need to hear? I'm telling you right now, this is what stupid people need to hear. You're stupid. They do. To your face. You're a stupid person. And they are. All these idiots up there, all of them, may have been my own representatives. I don't know. Stupid human beings. Stupid people voting for this. Oh, it's good because it keeps kids off of porn sites. Whose job is it to keep a kid off a porn site? That would be my job as a parent, not the government's job. That's my job as a parent. You know how you keep kids off of porn sites? They don't have a computer in their room. They don't have a smartphone in their room. That's it. Tom, you can't do that. Yeah, everybody told me I couldn't do that until I did it. Everybody, all the Christians around me told me that I would never be able to keep my kids from dating until they're 18. You know what I did? I kept them from dating until they're 18. They didn't even want to date until they're 18. You know why? Because they had Christianity installed in them throughout the years. All right? You know why? You know why my kids weren't looking at porn? Because they didn't have the devices to look at porn. That's how it works. Nobody, all the Christians told me you're not going to be able to keep your kids from driving until they're 18. You know what I did? I kept them from driving until they're 18. That's what I did. You know why? Because it's my job to do it. It's not the 535 complete immoral morons on Capitol Hill. Well, Tom, if you don't like it, do something about it. Well, again, it's very limited what one person can do. But Tucker Carlson's talking about starting a third party. Okay, and do I 100% believe in Tucker Carlson? No, he's a big J.D. Vance guy. And Alex Karp from Palantir just came out and said he's the greatest advocate of Israel on the planet. And Palantir created J.D. Vance. It's like you can't find a home. You can't find a home, you know? All right, go to the next one for me. So here is the Democratic Party. Pramila Jayapal, socialism is good. Play it for me.
They use the word social democrat because it sounds so nice, but it's really communism you're talking about.
I mean, he is ridiculous, but the reason he's using communism is because he knows socialism is really popular. So he's trying to turn this into communism when he knows that the ideas that social democrats are running on, that progressives are running on, universal health care, universal child care, making sure that people get paid higher wages, those are incredibly popular. So he's trying to attach an ideology to it, a label that isn't correct.
So you're like, well, what do you do now, Tom? Well, you remember, I need to write a book, 2 piles of feces. That needs to be the name of the book. 2 piles of poop. When you have the Republican Party, which is a festering pile of feces, and the Democratic Party, which is a bigger festering pile of feces, you don't have to go into either one. Tom, you're a registered Republican. I know. But the thing is now I speak against Republicans too. All right, so the Republicans are doing things that aren't conservative. I'm speaking about it. So you don't have to choose either one, Hamas or Israel. None, thank you. Iran or Israel. None, thank you. I don't have to choose. I don't have to do any of those things. Iraq versus Iran. Back in the Saddam Hussein versus the mullahs. Don't have to choose either one. Thank you. I'm out. Thank you very much. But anyway, so there you have the Democrats are now hardcore. I mean, everywhere. They're like undefeated in communist elections. Their communists are being elected. I'm going to get to the I'm looking at my pile here. I'm going to get to the Democratic section of the show tonight. Let me show you who's being elected. But anyway, they're being elected all over the place. Well, you don't like the Republicans. This is the simplistic, myopic thinking that people have. That you don't like what the Republicans are doing, so that makes you anti-conservative. I don't like what the Republicans are doing because they're not being conservative, and that makes me not conservative. No, here's the thing. I don't have to choose. The Democrats are wretched, and the Republicans are cowards. Which one's worse? I don't know, because it's impossible. If you just look at the debt clock, it's impossible to tell who's running the country, Republican or Democrat, because they do the same things. They spend the same amount of money on some different things, but really the same amount of money. And whenever the Democrat is in the White House, all the Republicans pass Democratic bills with spendings for abortions and transgender surgeries for minors. Go to the next for me. Thomas Massey tweet. Republicans decrying communist involvement in the Democrat Party just looked the other way when the Trump administration, nationalized ownership of these private companies. Intel 10%, MP Materials 15%, is now owned by the federal government. What is that called? You can call that fascism, or you can call it socialism, or you can call it communism. But when Trump does it, it's not. Anybody want to share that? I would love to hear why when Trump does it, it's not communism. I'm against it whether Trump does it or not, which makes me a conservative. If you're Sean Ferris or Gunther Eagleman or Kat Turd or Eric Doherty or any of these sycophants, when Trump does communism, it's now patriotism. And it's a capitalistic democracy when Trump does communism. Aaron, can you make that make sense?
No.
U.S. Steel, Golden Share, is owned by the federal government. Trilogy Metals, 10% owned by the federal government. Lithium Americas, 5% owned by the federal government, just like Moderna, and that's what gave us Operation Warp Speed.
Yes.
Great job. Go to the next one. Eric Doherty tweet. Breaking Governor Ron DeSantis. Now, here's how you run a country. Is how we're running the 23 million people inside the state of Florida. Is it perfect? No, but close to it. No, close to it. Breaking, Governor Ron DeSantis has just stunned the nation, sitting down to sign this year's smaller budget than last year for 4 straight years. Now, you look, it's Eric Doherty, right? And I like his account, but he's a Trump sycophant. Trump could literally drop a giant turd on Eric Doherty's face, and if Trump told him that it was chocolate, he'd be licking his whiskers. Same thing with DC Drano.
Yeah.
Same thing with all of them. All right. When a turd comes out of Trump's rectum, what is it? It's still a turd, even if Trump tells you that it's delicious chocolate.
The best chocolate.
The best chocolate. So here you go. Now again, you're like, well, Eric Doherty's supporting him. Well, he's right in supporting him. You cannot have this myopic sort of thought. You can't be like that. You have to be able to look at things in a discerning fashion and say, this is conservatism, this is not. Even if a conservative does something that's not conservative, you need to then call it not conservative. That's what Eric Doherty needs to get down. This good. Trump merging corporatism with governance, fascism, not good. Why is that hard? Why is it hard? Okay, if you have like an annoying friend, how many in this room have an annoying friend? Okay, Aaron's pointing at Joe, and Joe's pointing at Aaron.
No, I do. I was typing.
Yeah, no, it's okay. Joe is publicly saying he has an annoying friend. Okay, we've all at least had an annoying friend. The best thing you can do is don't go, well, since he's my friend, I'm going to tolerate his annoying behavior. No. It's the worst thing you can freaking do to the guy. The best thing you can do to the guy or girl is say to him, hey, you're annoying. Tom, does that cost you? Has that cost you friendships? I don't know, because I can't remember how many times I've confronted people. I've confronted people a lot. Okay. So, in 25 years of law enforcement, basically I've lived a life of confrontation. But I've cost myself, I don't know, thousands of church members because I tell them the truth about themselves.
Yeah.
Tell them the truth, according to the word of God. Not from me being some sort of soothsayer, but just telling the truth about themselves. That's what people need to get. But DeSantis, does he do everything good? No, because we passed some sort of age thing for the internet here too. All right, so anyway, Governor Ron DeSantis just stunned the nation, sitting down to sign this year's smaller budget than last year for 4 straight freaking years in a booming state. Florida will now have a budget less than half the size of New York, despite being a similar not a similar population, Eric. No, please, okay, not similar. New York has lost 1 million people. They're down to like 18 million. We're 23 million. Okay, we have a lot more than they do. All of our elections, everybody knows who's elected by 9 o'clock at night. Nobody has any freaking idea who won New York until 3 weeks later, and that's now been. And now, according with John Roberts and Amy Coney Barrett, they're going to continue on doing that exact same thing, because the conservatives on the court decided that we are still going to have month-long elections. Isn't that great? But I can't say that because they're conservative. And if I criticize a conservative for not being conservative, I'm no longer conservative. That's the Graham Levin MAGA mindset. That's hard to say. Graham Levin MAGA mindset. All right, so go to the next one for me. Quantum Guard video breaking. You can just side by side this one, guys. Just mute it, Aaron. Breaking Florida legislator, and this is good news for Joey, homeowner in Florida. Sorry, I call him Joey. That's what we all call him that are close to him. Joe, homeowner in Florida. Aaron, homeowner in Florida. Me, homeowner in Florida. That's good news. Breaking, Florida legislature formally approves abolishing property taxes for your homesteaded property. So basically, your primary residence. For most primary homeowners statewide. Both chambers resoundingly passed Governor Ron DeSantis' proposal, sending it to voters for approval this November. Needs 60% approval. Come on. How many of you live in Florida? 309 people in the chat. How many of you live in Florida? You better get your butts out. I mean, Tom, are you going to push this from the pulpit? Heck to the yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm pushing it from the pulpit. Can you imagine not paying property tax? Aaron, you get to actually own your house.
Wow.
They can't actually take your house away.
Man.
Yo, when they make it impossible for you to pay your taxes except via your digital ID that you can't get without 57 vaccinations and without a mark on your forehead or on your right hand, you won't actually lose your house then. Because the only way once you pay off your house for you to ever lose your house if you don't pay the property taxes, and eventually they'll make it impossible for you to pay your property taxes. Eventually, will that happen? Book of Revelation style in our lifetime? I don't know. Causes all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and slave, to receive a mark on their right hand or on their forehead, and that no one may buy or sell except one who has the mark of the name of the beast and the number of his name. Revelation 13, 16, 17. No one may buy or sell. You cannot pay your property taxes without the mark of the beast. And that will come before. There'll be precursors to the mark of the beast, like biometric IDs, quantum dot tattoo technology, all those different things, where you will have to be a part of the program. Australia being one of those, where don't worry, the biometric ID is optional. It's voluntary, except all businesses now require you to have it.
Yeah.
How's it optional? That was the same thing they were pulling during COVID. So this is really good news. Hopefully, people in Florida are not stupid enough to vote. What they're going to say, they're going to come out with all the fear porn ads. There's not going to be any services. There's not going to be. Listen, they're going to raise taxes in other ways. I would rather pay more for the boat, for the car, for gas even. I don't care. I want to own my house. I want to own my house. And the only way for you to ever truly own your house, and by the way, there's no states that there's no property tax. And there might be one state that it goes, maybe it stops after seven years, maybe, but I'm not even sure on that one. But anyway, so it would be great, wouldn't it? So Floridians, this is what you do. And by the way, you can still move to Florida. It's your homesteaded house, so it's your primary residence. There you go. All right, go to the next one for me. Stephen Moore tweet. Florida Governor Ron DeSantis has become one of the strongest fiscal case studies in the country. Population growth has surged alongside Texas since 2020. Florida holds a $18 billion reserve, maintains AAA credit ratings from all major agencies, and has delivered nearly $9.7 billion in tax relief while balancing the budget. Okay, if you can do that here, why can't you do it everywhere? Because people don't want to, because they profit off of not doing it. Simple as that. Go to the next one for me. Stephen Moore tweet. The great property tax revolt of 2026 is here. I hope so. Listen, initiate it in your own home state. Well, then we won't have fire services. They'll raise the taxes. We'd rather have a sales tax than own our own house, wouldn't you? Wouldn't you? I'll be glad to pay more for my M&Ms. I'll pay more. I'll pay more for the Slurpee. I'll pay more for my Publix fried chicken that I get 3 times a week. I'll pay more. I'll gladly pay more for my canned burgers that I get 3 times a week from Culver's. I mean, twice a week from Culver's. My chicken wings. I'm fine, whatever. I'm fine with it. From Florida to Texas to Indiana, Americans are pushing back as property taxes rise faster and faster. Look at the freaking property taxes, folks. Look at the freaking property taxes. It's ridiculous. Population up 14%, but taxes up 243%. Why? So they, again, and I don't mean to be, it's not conspiratorial because it's all true. All this is about is collecting your money, both Republicans and Democrats, who then disseminate it to NGOs and to law firms that then circulate it back to the very politician that gave the money to the NGO. That's it, folks. That really is. It's overly simplistic because I'm not even getting into their insider trading over the entities, the parts of the economy that they regulate. I'm not even getting into that right now. But it really is that way. It really is. All that it is these people collecting your money so that they can enrich themselves, their families, their friends, their party, and everybody but you. Republicans and Democrats. Look at how rich they all freaking are. You look at Ro freaking Kano. You look at that guy. Comes in with his wife's money's worth $30 million. None of his own, but his wife's worth $30 million. Now he's worth $300 million. He's been in office for 7 years. He makes 5, 6, 7,000 trades a year, but it's a blind trust. But somehow every single one of his blind trust transactions are all over the parts of the government economy that he regulates, that he votes on, that he's on the committees for, that he insider trades on months before anybody else can make a trade on the decisions that they make. You know, they decide to regulate or pull regulations off. Well, nobody knows about that, but they do, and they make all their stock trades based on those regulations or non-regulations, or where the government's going to spend money. All right, where am I? Oh, Matt Van Swell video. So this is all cabal stuff, all cabal. Well, one of the great cabals is lawlessness. That's actually what the Antichrist is called, a man of lawlessness. The lawless one will be revealed. Matt Van Swall, 2 Matt Van Swall videos in a row. Matter of fact, we'll run them right in a row, Joe.
Okay.
Both Matt Van Swall videos. First one, another man has been arrested after he brought knives onto the light rail in Charlotte, North Carolina. I believe that's the same place that Irina Saruska was killed. And then, so here's another one. And side by side that. Anybody just want to guess what the suspect looks like? Okay, there he is. Right hand corner. Okay, you can't say it because you're a racist. Okay, we're not going to acknowledge there's a problem? Are we not? Did anybody watch the pregame? We're not going to acknowledge there's a problem in Clearwater Beach? Okay, we'll go to the next one. Matt Van Swall. Oh, no, I'm sorry, guys. Stick with what the next one will be. Breaking, an absolutely horrifying story currently unfolding in Western North Carolina. All under Governor Cooper. Absolutely worthless leftist moron. A black male suspect, Jadakiss Hamilton, strike one on the name, has been arrested for allegedly murdering and burying a white female victim. Play them both for me.
This disturbing incident happened late last night. As you mentioned, we're here at the Sugar Creek Light Rail Station. Now, CAT Security arrested 37-year-old Ramon Jermel Norman. They accused him of causing a disturbance on the train and on this platform. When officers arrested him, they found that he was armed with not one, but 2 knives that were hidden in his waistband. Fortunately, no one was injured in the incident, and some passengers that we talked to take that as a sign that security improvements are actually working.
Her name is Jordan Wishen. The man charged is already in custody on other alleged charges leading up to this case. Had you heard that they found a body?
Yeah, I heard that they found a body, but I never did hear whether it was natural causes.
Investigators say it wasn't. Jadakiss Hamilton, now charged with murder. The victim, investigators say, is Jordan Wishen. The Rutherford Sheriff's Office posted her photo and explained how the investigation to find her began. Investigators say people who knew Jordan reported her missing. Neighbor William Evans.
Do you recognize her?
Yeah.
You do recognize her?
Yeah, I've passed her when I go to the mailbox, and she'd be coming up.
I knew Jordan not well, but I knew her well enough to know she was a real sweet girl.
Glenn Overholser came by.
All right, we don't need to hear all the witness testimony. So here's the stats on these guys. So the first one, another man has been arrested after he brought knives onto the light rail in Charlotte, North Carolina, started threatening and screaming at passengers and police. He was arrested only 42 other times. Second guy who just murdered and buried the white female, would be Jadakiss Hamilton. He's only been involved in 90 other cases across 4 counties and is out there free to kill another person. Okay, all because Roy Cooper of North Carolina doesn't want to arrest black people because that makes you a racist. Just like you couldn't arrest the low IQ Pakistani inbred morons inside of the UK that they've now determined have raped about 250,000 native UK citizens. But you don't want to be called Islamophobic. I mean, just let the girl be anally raped, okay? Because I'm Keir Starmer, and I don't even know my kids will never be anally raped. My kids will never be vaginally raped. My kids will never be sexually abused because they're behind walls and guns that nobody else is allowed to have. And I'm importing the rapist on purpose so that nobody thinks that I'm Islamophobic. And because I'm actually a globalist, leftist, bourgeois elitist who doesn't look at the UK as a sovereign state, it looks at it as a globalist state. It doesn't look at it as a sovereign country, but as a globalist state. So let everybody in, even though I think that I'm always going to be safe. And if you know what happens to the people that always think they're going to be safe, they end up being not safe either. That's how it works. Speaking of not safe, the Vigilant Fox video, Rand Paul says he now has emails showing Fauci sent documents to Francis Collins, who ran at the time the CDC, with the instructions, read it, then destroy it. Play it for me.
Is it too vague to say, I'm going to prosecute you for, not prosecute you and pardon you for anything you did in the last 10 years? I think there's a possibility the court says that's vague and not specific, and you can't give people some kind of pardon for everything and over such a long period of time. I think there's a chance we'd win that. I think it ought to be fought. We have 2 clear-cut cases against him, lying to Congress, which is a felony, but also destroying public records. We now have emails that he distributed to Francis Collins and others saying, hey, read this and then destroy it. That is against the law. You're not allowed to do that in the executive branch. It's clear. You know, his only argument is, oh, it wasn't about government. and it clearly was, and I think a jury would decide. So I still would prosecute him.
So I know that I'm preaching to the choir right now, 307 people that are watching. And we always end up on Rumble with 2,000, 3,000, 4,000 views. So everybody watching, so I know that I'm not talking to you necessarily. Probably not. But imagine being one of those people that donned your mask. Then you donned the second mask. You had started with the cloth mask, and then you put on the surgical mask. And then you put on the N95, and then you took your first vax and your second vax. You closed your church as a bent-over, latte-sucking, skinny jeans-wearing, moronic pastor. And you closed your church, took the turkey baster vaccine up your own rectum, bent over, grabbed the bottom of your heels for Anthony Fauci. And now he's sending emails to the head of the CDC, the alleged Christian, Francis Collins, and entitled them, read it and then destroy it. Nothing to hide here, right, folks? Nothing to hide. They'll just get over COVID. Never. More comes out, these people need to go to prison. I mean, there's so many felonies that this man committed. He needs to spend the rest of his life in federal prison. So let's debunk, finally, one of the biggest lies out there. You can put this one up, guys. The lie that U.S. aid, cutting U.S. aid, which again is not, it says nothing to do with aiding anybody. It's the U.S. Agency for International Development. That's all that it is. It doesn't aid anybody. It is a funneling system to make foreign and domestic leftist billionaires. That's all that it is. It sends money to Norm Eisen and Mark Elias. It sends money to Ukraine that gets funneled back, $60 million of it, into the Biden campaign. That's what it does. It's all lies. Everything's a lie. Everything is. Republican and Democrat. Conservatism is true. The Constitution is true. The Declaration of Independence and the Bill of Rights. Those things are true. Everything else, freaking lies, man, outside of course, the Word of God. So you're at Ro Khanna, Mr. Insider Trading, who ends up always teaming up with Massey somehow to give himself some sort of credibility that he's a crusader. He's not. He's a multi-hundred millionaire. That's who he really is. That he's accomplished via insider trading. And he's the one who came out against Elon Musk and Doge for cutting U.S. aid. Said that it's going to kill 4.5 million kids in Africa. Well, we have the totals from Peter St. Ange, great account on Twitter. Turns out the funding U.S. aid did not kill Africans because the money wasn't going to Africa. It was going to buy elections and burn Tesla dealerships. Did Elon Musk kill millions on the bottom there? I don't know. What do you think, Aaron?
Ethereum.
Arctotherium. Thank you. You're the best, dude. Seriously. Did Elon Musk kill millions of people by cutting U.S. aid? We now have the preliminary 2025 mortality data from several African countries, and the answer may shock you. It's like all the mortality data that Aaron and I put out post-COVID.
Yep.
How many excess deaths were there, Aaron?
None.
There you go. Every country, none.
Weird.
No excess deaths until they rolled out the vaccines.
Yep.
And then that killed 35 million people. But I mean, that's just
That's fine. Warp speed.
Don't worry about it. Yeah, warp speed.
Long
Killed
COVID.
long COVID until they rolled out long COVID, which is the vaccine. But anyway, so here's the numbers. Go the first one for me. So just so you can see did I not give you those?
Yeah,
I did.
yeah,
Sorry. Okay. Fired you. He's fine.
You're fired.
You screwed up. I mean, I never screw up the podcast. I never screw up. But anyway, so let's look at the difference now. Since US aid has been cut. So U.S. aid was cut in 2025. Everyone agrees, right? Joe, Aaron, everybody agrees. Everybody in the chat, cuts. So let's look at all the millions of extra people that have died. Because in 2024, 40 million people died of HIV. And how many people died after U.S. aid was cut? 40 million people.
Huh.
Now, before that, in 2024, you had 1.3 million HIV infections, and USAID was cut. So how many infections do you have now? 1.2 million. AIDS-related deaths, 600,000 before USAID was cut. Then they must have skyrocketed. They did, all the way down 30,000. Coverage of preventative or vertical transmission. Was it 85%? Now it's at 87%. Coverage of antiretroviral therapy was at 77% and went up 1%. So coverage, that's a positive, by the way. Those are positives.
Yeah.
They went up 1% after they cut the money to it. That's weird, isn't it? And you actually have these leaders from these foreign countries saying, first of all, we don't ever get the money anyway. Just like nobody in the front lines is getting our money from the Ukraine either. That's all been sent to buy, it's been sent into NGOs and then dispersed to buy mansions for Volodymyr Zelensky and all of his cronies. Go to the next one for me. So here it is, South African weekly deaths from all causes, January 2023 to basically today. Look how much it's changed since we no longer send billions and billions and billions of your dollars into NGOs to people that never get it. How much has it changed? Projected excess deaths, 2025, 10,000. Observed SA excess deaths. Look at the difference. None. No difference. None. Nothing. It's all freaking lies. It's all lies. Skip the next one for me, Joe. Let's jump into, go to End Wokeness, Mayor Mamdani. Let's go. Let's attack Democrats. Let's have some fun, shall we? End Wokeness video. Mayor Mamdani, set your thermostats. Play it for me.
And to every business owner, please set your thermostats to 78 degrees to alleviate the stress on our power grid.
That's the comfort of socialism. That's the greatness of socialism. Now he's stipulating to you where to set your thermometer. Now, I mean, where to set your thermostat. So here's the thing. Right now, you have a choice. What happens when it's all biometric IDs? What's going to happen when it's all, I control my AC from my house. Listen, I'm not saying you're not patriotic if you do that. I mean, I get it. I do a lot of stuff on my phone too. I get it. But you're going to need to know where to stand. To preach to the choir, 316 people watching right now. Preaching to the choir because all of us made our stand during COVID. We said no. And if you didn't make it immediately, you ended up making it. And you ended up, denouncing the whole load of crap that it was. That's where the stand needed to be made. I heard preachers. I heard conservatives. Teddy Cruz and all the rest of them never made a stand. They're going to end up with their biometric IDs and advocating for you to do it. I'm telling you. People are going to have a mark on their right hand or on their forehead. Now, I know a lot of people don't believe it. They're pre-trib, mid-trib, whatever trib, all those different things. I believe this, that you're going to have churches full of people with a mark on their right hand or on their forehead.
Yep.
Aaron's on my side.
Yep.
So, it's going to happen. And they're going to be advocating for it. You're like, yeah, but it's right in the Bible. They'll excuse it away. They'll excuse it away. When you have two women grinding at the mill, one will be taken, the other left. Two men standing in the field, one will be taken, and the other left, Matthew chapter 24. They'll excuse that one too. That's how it is. That's how people are. All right. So what I'm saying is right now, those businesses have a choice, sort of, that they can go and adjust their own thermostat. Not once you put it onto your smartphone, because once you have access, once your device has access, then all the people who have access to your device have access. And that's just the beginning stages of getting everybody on their phones. And then once all of us are conducting and I'm not saying all of us are going to do it. I'm just saying this as a general ease of conversation statement. Once all of us are on board and we do everything digitally, everything online, and the freedom of the online community, the freedom of the internet community, freedom of internet commerce, then once they know, and then there's no point in having, stores anymore. There's no point in having gas stations anymore because all the cars are electric and you charge them from your house, from your controlled electric grid. Then once all of us are on it, then they start cutting you off.
Yep.
Because right now they can't. Aaron can still go pay cash for gas. He can do it if he wants to. But eventually that's going to be eliminated. It's going to happen, but you and I are supposed to be the 2 Thessalonians chapter 2, restraining. All right, here's another, this is the Democrat, James Talrico, running against Ken Paxton for senator in the state of Texas, and his polls are crashing. This is why. Play it for me.
My faith is why I'm in politics. So I grew up at St. Andrew's Presbyterian Church, which is right outside Austin city limits, up 35, led by Reverend Jim Rigby, who is a graduate of the seminary across the street.
Right.
And, it was always, Dr. Jim always taught us that love has to grow into justice.
Right.
Justice is just love out in public. Right.
Amen.
And so that our church was really active in LGBTQ rights in the 90s. We caught some attention by letting an atheist join our church in the 2000s. And then in the 2010s, again, stirred some controversy by housing an undocumented family, a mother and son who were close to being deported by ICE.
So you're a Christian when you're lawless and you're for sodomy. And what was the other one? Lawless with the immigrant, sodomy, and you're still a Christian when you don't believe in Jesus.
Right.
Okay. Here's another one that was just elected. Devout communist Right here, you'll get her name. Brennan, this is a Brennan Murphy video. Denver just voted to send a 29-year-old recovering lawyer, barista, immigrant, Democratic socialist to Congress. That's her own statement. Play it for me.
I'm about the same age that my dad was when he came to this country. Betting on the promise, he chose Denver to be our home because he knew that this city would welcome us. And that same city just voted to send a 29-year-old recovering lawyer, barista, immigrant, Democratic socialist to Congress.
This is why you don't start a new war, folks. We've got a war here. Again, you're like, well, but the Republicans are so divided. Well, let's get rid of the non-conservative Republicans, even if they're MAGA. Goodbye. Goodbye. You want new wars? You want to spend trillions of dollars deficit spending? You're not conservative. Go be a Democrat. Then we'll know. Or let's start a third party. A real third party, not a Palantir party, a real third party. I hope Tucker's legit. Okay, it's kind of hard to think you're legit when your dad was a CIA op. But, and I like Tucker. I do. I watch Tucker and I like his interviews. He lets everybody on. He lets everybody talk. I like him. I hope that he's legit. I hope that he, this is a legit third party that he's talking about doing. I hope it is. But, obviously I'm skeptical. Very, very, very skeptical. But this is the battle. The Republican platform is pristine. It's great, but the Republican Party is crap. And the Democratic Party is worse. And I'm voting freaking down ballot Republican come August with the primary elections, all the different elections going on here. I'm voting down ballot Republican. Obviously, if it's primary, I'm voting Republican. But, I'm voting Republican 100% because it's certainly better than a cackling daughter of an immigrant who's a Democratic socialist being elected. All right, 10-11, that's good. All right, what do we got, Aaron? We got rants?
Yep, we got 3.
All right, 3 rants.
Conservative Warrior 65 donated $5. I ask you to raise our sister up in prayer for stage 4 cancer, Tom Jean.
Will do for Jeannie. We'll do that tonight because I think I saw Jules also put that in the rant. I'm looking at you guys when you're in the rant, also during the show, during videos and stuff. All right, go to the next one for me. We're going to close.
21 ARs donated $10.
Yep,
prayers for our friend Jean. She's hurting from stage 4 cancer treatment.
We're going to close in prayer. We'll close in prayer praying for Jeannie. Go to the next one for me.
Last one.
Love you,
Nude
Jules.
Monk donated $10. Mr. Smith and Mr. Wesson said, you create your own safety.
1,000% agree. I'm gunned up. I'm ammoed up. I'm fooded up. Everything else, I'm ready to roll. 100%. 100% agree. Let's close in prayer, everybody. Lord, we love you. Lord, we praise you. We really do. We give you praise, Lord Jesus. You are the greatest. You are our God. We worship you tonight, Almighty God. Jesus, the Holy Ghost, we worship you. And Lord, you said in your word, Matthew chapter 8, verse 17, Jesus said, took up your infirmities and carried your diseases. For Jeannie, we lift her up. It's not that, Lord, we pray right now for her, that you would alleviate all the pain from the cancer treatments right now. In Jesus' mighty name. Take all the pain away right now in Jesus' name. But not only that, we eradicate. We loose, Lord, healing virtue into her body. We eradicate the cancer out. As the healing virtue comes in, the cancer goes out. All cancer gone. We bind it from her body. In Jesus' mighty name. And the church says, amen and amen. I love you guys. Listen, the entire post game is fun. Nothing political. So sit back, enjoy the ride for 3 or 4 minutes, however long it is. Enjoy the ride of the post game. Back here tomorrow night. That's right. It's Wednesday. It's Wednesday, right here?
Yes.
So I am
yes.
back here tomorrow night, 9 o'clock, Lord. 9 o'clock as always in the Bible study on Friday. Love you guys. God bless you.
My name is Maximus Decimus Meridius.
My name is Jeff.
My name is Maximus Decimus Meridius.
My name is Jeff.
My name is Maximus Decimus Meridius.
My name is Jeff.
My name is Maximus Decimus Meridius.
My name is Jeff.
My name is Maximus Decimus Meridius.
My name is Jeff.
My name is Maximus Decimus Meridius.
My name is Jeff.
My name is Maximus Decimus Meridius.
My name is Jeff.
My name is Maximus Decimus Meridius.
My name is Jeff.
My name is Maximus Decimus Meridius.
My name is Jeff.
My name is Maximus Decimus Meridius.
My name is Jeff.
My name is Maximus Decimus Meridius.
My name is Jeff.
Get him, get him, get him, get him. Stay on him, stay on him. Yes! Yes! Are you on there? You got him, you got him, you got him. Woohoo! That is awesome. Now, get the hinds. Get the hinds. All right, get off the horse. Get off the horse.
We've been trying to contact you regarding your car's extended.
Can we watch TV in peace? Can we watch TV in peace, please?
You know.
You love Dad. Do you love Dad?
Good morning. Oh my goodness. Are you glad I'm home from work? I think he is.
The speed that Eddie ran across the kitchen. There we go. He's on the single leg, trying to fight. Picking one guy up. Slams him down. Eddie. The right hand line for Eddie Hall. He's knocked him out. One shot. It's all it took. One shot.
Gentlemen, I want you to repeat after me just how I do it. Ready? Your turn. Very good. Ladies. Good golly.
Podcast is all about. We talk about a lot of political things, but underneath all of that is the Bible. I am unapologetically 100% in favor of is the Bible. Jesus is the Word. There is no delineation. If the Bible says it, that's what Jesus is, and that's what Jesus believes. That's what this podcast is actually about, is to actually alert people to what is coming and what is our responsibility in the midst of it.